Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Colby, welcome. While I do not agree with many of your policy positions, I do recognize that you are one of the most experienced and knowledgeable nominees from this administration to come before this committee. And I appreciated our conversation in my office very much. It is clear to me that unlike most Trump national security nominees, you actually have been putting in the work to become an expert in your field. That said, expertise alone is not enough. Integrity, adherence to the rule of law, and unwavering commitment to uphold our democratic institutions are just as essential. So as I do with every Trump administration candidate to come before this committee, I must ask, Mr. Colby, if President Trump or Secretary Hegseth asked you to do something illegal, unethical, or in direct violation of your oath to defend the Constitution, would you refuse to obey?
Well, thank you very much, Senator, for the kind words. I would say I contest the premise of the question. I don't think the President or the Secretary would ask such a question, but I am committed. I would absolutely not follow an unconstitutional or unlawful order.
Thank you. Mr. Colby, that was so easy. Why can't the others do that? Thank you for saying that. Mr. Colby, the global threat environment is more volatile than it has been in decades. Russia's aggression, China's growing assertiveness, and challenges in the Indo-Pacific demand clear-eyed leadership and a commitment to our alliances. Yet rather than reaffirming America's leadership, this administration has actively undermined our allies, cast doubt on our commitments to NATO, and most disturbingly, cozied up to the authoritarian adversaries like Russia. The credibility of the United States as a reliable partner has been called into question by our very own actions. Our president has refused to acknowledge the reality that Russia's unprovoked war of aggression in Ukraine has shattered global security norms, and our recent gesture of support towards Russia are emboldening our adversaries. Mr. Colby, can you tell me if Russia invaded Ukraine?
Senator, as I said earlier, I don't want to disrupt anything going on with commentary on a fraught matter at a very delicate time. I'm really committed to making sure whatever I can do or not do anything that would hinder the ability to get a peace process on track.
Why does acknowledging whether or not Russia invaded Ukraine, which is a known fact, affect the peace process?
I think the president and the vice president made clear that words matter, that in these times of delicate diplomatic negotiations along the lines, I think, of what Senator Kramer was saying. It's not my place. I'm here as a nominee. I'm not part of the conversation. I wouldn't want to do anything to weigh in on this, especially at this very sensitive time where, Senator, I hope things do get back on track where we can have moves towards peace. And I don't think it's my place. I'm not authorized to speak on this matter as a representative of the government. I'm a nominee here.
It's astounding to me that you can't answer the question of whether or not Russia invaded Ukraine when it's a known fact. That would be as if saying you don't know whether or not Hitler invaded Poland. It is astounding to me that you cannot answer that question. After last Friday's shameful display in the Oval Office, it's clear that Trump is in the middle of a capitulation, not a negotiation. The wholesale refusal of this administration's officials and nominees to acknowledge the established fact of Russia's illegal and immoral full-scale invasion of Ukraine out of fealty to Trump and ultimately Vladimir Putin is one of the most shocking and disturbing things I've seen in my life. Mr. Colby, let's move on. Mr. Colby, you've been a vocal advocate of prioritizing the PRC as our greatest geopolitical challenge, and we had a very good conversation about this. I look forward to working with you on opposing our near-peer adversary. Often arguing that our strategic focus should shift away from other regions, and you've said, sometimes we need to shift from Europe and the Middle East and really focus on the Indo-Pacific. Under this administration, we have seen a surge in deployment of active duty U.S. military personnel to the southern border and Guantanamo Bay, not to counter an active military threat, but instead to perform law enforcement and accomplish logistical tasks that are typically handled by civilian agencies. Mr. Colby, given your stated concerns about the need to strengthen deterrence against the Communist Republic of China, do you believe diverting military assets to perform domestic political theater at the border is an effective use of our limited defense resources? Or is it a distraction from the real threats that we face?
Well, Senator, I wouldn't regard it as domestic political theater to secure our border and to make sure that we have territorial integrity. But if confirmed, I would certainly make it a real priority to make sure that those rightful efforts to ensure our territorial integrity and secure our border don't detract from our prioritizing the China threat, which is the biggest kind of external, state threat that we face as a country.
It's good to hear that. Thank you, Mr. Colby.
Thank you.